hey, you ever just film a episode of your Let's Play that's like super relevant to the story and super important, but you had a headache the day that you recorded it, and you still have a headache now, but when you're trying to edit it, you just made it more frustrating for yourself because you can't hear anything and everything's super quiet, and so the way you would normally edit it, which is just like going over the gaps and then sounding it to make sure it's okay, like you did last Lepacy episode, which you really enjoyed the editing of, you can't do that anymore because you spoke too quietly. And then you think, oh, okay, well, you know what? We can do something else. So we're deciding to do a voiceover for this Lepacy episode. Hi, welcome to Mastering the Brawler. Welcome to Plumbob Cubed. My name's Grace, and I'm frustrated. So here we have the Frio family. Connor, he was getting ready, he broke the shower, he calmed down his daughter because she needed socialization and probably food. Jared, he's coming to fix the shower. He had a wish to talk to his daughter, which is going to come in relevant later this episode. Vita's probably going to go take care of her needs right now. Agnes is still sleeping, and I'm probably talking about something at this point that no one could hear. I'm very mad about that. If you can't tell, it was just very frustrating to me while I'm trying to edit this. So I'm really sorry that you're getting a voiceover. It's probably very boring. Oh, Connor's going to work in an hour. I was proud that he washed his plate. I guess he's going to work right now, actually, because those notifications sometimes show up late. And Vita, we're trying to decide what we want to do. We go through her wishes, and we realize most of her wishes are, like, social. But the one thing that we can do is donate to Undermine Charity. We chose world peace rather than the ocean because Vita is not a litterer. She is not a polluter. Jared just got the handy and skill and went up to level 2. Agnes woke up. We're going to make Jared clean up the puddle so he can be helpful and meaningful to the family. And then Vita, we're still looking through what she wants to do. Spoiler alert, she's going to use the telescope. She's going to use the telescope. Agnes, no, I joked about her drinking juice. Agnes is coming to eat, and yeah, Agnes, we're going to have her work on her book. It's Blatant Lies. We didn't realize that she had one. After, of course, she takes care of her needs. And then we're going to have her paint because that's important to her aspiration. And since she's on a break right now, you know, it seems like a good idea. Vita's using a telescope to spy out evil doings. And Jared was about to go downstairs, but then I had this whole tangent about the baby's name. So he decides to take care of the baby. So the baby's name starts with an I. And so in my brain, Spanish I is E. And also it's Risa, which is laugh. So it's Irisa in my head. But, you know, I can Google it or you can correct me. But basically, we decide that during this episode, Jared and Vita are going to go on a date. Since, you know, last time on Brawler and the Master, we had a campaign fundraiser and it was a lot of fun. And then on Monday, with our Lepacy episode, we had a really fun activity of going to the park as a family, which is fun. So I was kind of enjoying this, like, themed episodes kind of thing. And so we're doing that to make it more interesting and more entertaining for you to watch, because I'd like you to watch even when I fail to record properly. So now Jared's asking Vita on her date, and she says, yes, of course. And they say that they're going on a date, and my thing's too small, so I can't read, but she says, hanging out is cool. I remember she said disco or bar, and it's like, honey, you are pregnant. Please do not drink. So we just kind of wait for a moment, and we're just like, going to a date in the park is really basic and really boring, and honestly, we could probably go somewhere else more interesting, but we're gonna go here with Vita anyways, because that'll be fine. It works. It's relevant. Everyone loves Central Park. Oh, great. They're coming around, and they get to the park. Jared starts running, and my video is glitching. That is fun. So they start talking to each other, and they start flirting and being romantic and doing all these cute things. And it says, oh, it looks like Vita is being naughty around town. And as we remember, she has Nick as romantic interest. And so I took a cute screenshot because they looked cute. And then I turn my camera. I look at a dude, and there's Nick. There's Nick in distress because Vita is flirting with someone else. The horror. So Jared and Vita kept being romantic because I kind of wanted to see when Nick would intervene, which happens in just a second. And Nick comes in and he tries to flirt with her. That's how he's going to make it up to her, flirting. And she rejects him, of course. So Jared naturally just thinks it's this random man flirting with his fiance. So he decides, you know what? I'm gonna start hurting you. And we get a beautiful screenshot of Nick here. And Vita, she went away to go talk to Aaron Kennedy, since part of her wishes that we had in the morning was to befriend Aaron Kennedy. And I was thinking, like, oh, that seems really smart. So that means we can have someone in the military career that can, like, control the military, and we can get, like, a militia going on. So that means we can go ahead and overpower the current government, and we can be the supreme ruler. So as you can see, if you ever want a coup, it's called a coup, not a coup. I like calling it a coup because there's a P. And at this point, Nick and Jared start fighting, because, like, Jared's kind of MO is fighting, and also they're clearly battling for her love, and Jared loses. That's in the thumbnail. I already made the thumbnail. So Jared's like, hey, that's not how this works. I keep fighting you until you're on your butt. And so they keep fighting because, honestly, like, you can't just have a fight and then have it end if it's actually meaningful and emotional. Like, you're not just going to have a fight and then storm off. Like, I want more clarity and closure. You're going to need to insult each other. So Vita got level 7 charisma skill while her fiance is beating up her ex-husband. Oh, and look, they're both tired. So I turned off my memories, as I talked about in my Lepacy last episode. So I want to make my own memories. So what I did is I made a negative memory called Meeting the Other Man. So the way that I title it is, like, Jared finds out that Vita was, you know, still with her ex-husband, even though she said that she wasn't, but she rejected Nick, so clearly she wants Jared. That's clearly what it is. It's clearly going to work. It's clearly going to be okay. And I made sure to make it a negative memory too. See, I do pay attention. I do know what's going on. These two are just fighting more. We're comparing mothers to llamas. Where I intentionally chose not to insult Nick's family because Nick's family is with Vita. They have a daughter, Holly. And even though Jared isn't appropriate, I doubt that he would go ahead and insult his fiance's daughter. And here, Agnes published a book. It wasn't a flop. It wasn't a hit. She's just going to get 6 royalty payments of $47. And also it says here that Vita has a reputation of being naughty because she was with Nick and also Jared. And then we realized that Agnes actually has the cheater, because as we can remember in our lovely love episode or whatever, she started dating Buster, and then we were like, hey, Agnes, flirt with us. And then we made them broke up, and apparently that means cheating, clearly. Also, lovely Connor gets an opportunity to go interview people at the military because something funny happened there. I don't exactly know, but they do their opportunity. Jared's waiting for his fiance to stop socializing and trying to overthrow the government, and they just kind of, like, do cute things and try to have a nice time. Vita has no wishes about Jared, which I thought was kind of concerning, since, like, you're on a date. Normally they tell you if you want to go to the movies or eat at a restaurant and, like, something datey. But Vita was just not having those wishes. So at this point they're just being friendly, and they complained about Nick, and Jared interacted with hopefully his baby. That's foreshadowing. And then these two go into flirting because they are on a date and they need to be romantic because they are going to get married supposedly. And here Nick comes again. So we just decide to ignore Nick because he's kind of a troublemaker. Honestly, we do learn that Nick is mean-spirited. I'm not sure if that was the interaction before, or I doubt that they're going to have an interaction again, yeah. But apparently both Nick and Jared are mean-spirited, so, you know, maybe Vita has a type. Who's to say that she doesn't? So they're being cute, and Jared, of course, massages his woman because she's pregnant. And I thought, oh, you know what? Maybe they could go to the pool because, like, that's more of an interesting date than just, like, the park. It's more personality. So I say, okay, we're going to the pool. There's Marty Keaton in the corner. Here's our 2 lovebirds. And they just, like, talk a little bit. And they be cute as they need to do. And then I'm just like, okay, you're going to go swim. Because that's right. And Jared gets in. He has a super tired emoji and he gets out. I was like, no, Jared, get in. And, you know, talk to your fiance. And as we see there, he's worried about drowning. So this built some important canon for The Sims 3. Sims are aware when they are going to die. I would just like to say that. He is aware that he might die, and he says, nope, I'm not listening to you, Grace. This is some important canon. Also, Vita got the athletic skill. That's great. Agnes was writing a book. Erisa was doing good. Jared decides to use the amenities at the pool, going ahead and taking a shower, and he's going to nap in the lounge chair, because why not? And Vita's just swimming around. I just want to talk about how cute her swimsuit is. Like, she's pregnant, and she has this gorgeous swimsuit with, like, a nice V, and, like, the stripes really complement her, and I adore it. I really adore it. So Vita, I'm like, okay, you get a lounge chair. Wait, actually, Jared's coming out in his undies. That's great. Go sit next to your man girlfriend. But Vita, she is not one for relaxing. Look, she gets down, she gets up. I'm like, go down again, but read a book. And she's just like, nah, I'm going to go sit on the bench to read a book. I'm going to sit on some prickly stuff to read a book, which is an option. And then she finishes her book. Jared's still sleeping. So I'm like, okay, you know what? One of the ideas that I had was that Jared needs to beat up Xavier, because Xavier is, of course, the town thug currently, but normally it's Jared. Also, Connor got a promotion. He is a online content creator, a blogger now, and Xander's attracted to Vita. Is he mean-spirited too? Does he fit her type? Who knows? But basically says, what's your sign? Looks like you and I are meant to be. And then he comes in again and says, I don't care what anyone else says. I think you're hot. This man wants Vita. Also, their signs match. They're both Scorpios. That's great. And then they just immediately become friends. And I just realized this as I was talking. They stopped being on a date at this point. I realized later on that Vita and Jared stopped being on a date. But it just randomly went date, no date, and then it's going to come back later and say date. It does not make sense. But hey, now Jack Bunch is hitting on Vita. Agnes just took care of her baby. And there we can see Claire Ernstine and Brooke Ernstine out, foreshadowing they're going to come back again. But I was like, you know what? Jared still needs to sleep. Everything will be okay. And like here, Xavier tries to flirt with Vita in front of her man who's sleeping. And she just says no. She just says no. And then she gets in the pool to swim around some more, I assume. Jared's feeling a little better, even though his energy is completely low. Vita gets out her athletic skill more, because, like, why shouldn't she? She's an icon. And she's going to go splash Xavier. Or, no, she wanted to go talk to him. And I was like, hey, maybe not. Actually, talk to your fiance, please. Because he slept enough. He's fine. Now he's only 2 hours of sleepiness, not 3, and complete exhaustion. And Vita wants to befriend Xavier. And I was like, oh, should we choose that? Should we keep that? Also, apparently Susan Wainwright is a friend, or not a friend, but a fan of Jared. She was just chewing on him. No, wooing him on and cheering him. And I also decided, okay, so after the pool, they're going to go to the movie. So these two had a full-on, like, date day. They go to the park. Then they go to the pool. Then they go to the movie. And then they're going to go to a restaurant. But you see, drama happens in between the movie and the restaurant, because when does it not? This is The Sims, and this is really cute. Vita actually tells Jared to turn around and for her to give him a massage, which I just thought was, like, completely adorable and completely romantic. It's just cute. At this point, I decided, okay, you're going to get in line for the movie, actually. And I was like, why aren't you guys on a date? Why can't I click go here with date? What has happened? Do I need to ask you out on another date? Why is The Sims being confusing? How dare you do this to me? But I just ultimately decided they're going to, like, be romantic more, and then I'll just tell them go over here with, and it'll work out, and it'll totally be fine. And so that's what we do, and they're gonna come over, but rather than coming over like the front way of the pool over, Jared's gonna run through the back of the parking lot, and he's just gonna wait there where Tamara is dumpster diving. She's just dumpster diving. Like, Vita and Jared are gonna talk, but there's Tamara. She's just dumpster diving. She is our boss in the political career, and she's just going through some trash. So I decide these two are gonna be romantic some more. Agnes finishes a painting, and I decide that they go to a movie. It wasn't the romance movie, because I know they normally have like a stereotypical romantic title and then whatever, but I just chose the non one. Then Agnes' painting we decided to put in her daughter's room because I just thought it was cute. Kind of looks like the bi pride flag. I don't know bi jokes. At this point, we get Agnes painting in, and we see Connor's just reading outside the military base, as you do, right next to Aaron Kennedy. So I'm like, okay, you finished your opportunity interviewing the person that I need you to interview, so how about you actually go to the Ursine house where it says that Brooke and Claire is. But we see Xavier driving away because apparently he lives with them now. It's like, okay, Agnes, did you get yourself a man? And Vita's taking care of their baby girl, which is very cute. We're waiting for Connor to get here very patiently. He's coming down the road. And we try to go in, and Claire's not there. I was thinking, maybe Connor would, try to reconcile the relationship since he knows that his brother wants to go ahead and, see his daughter. So he was trying to, reconcile that with Claire and have Claire come over through that. But it just didn't work. We also have Connor go down, and he takes care of these plants. We have a lovely, pepper plant, and then we also have the garlic plant next to it. I just thought that was a flower because I am very smart. Also, apparently the garlic bush is very rare, and I've never grown it. So, that's cool. Also, at this point, once they finish, Connor's going to go and he's going to talk to his fiance, and they're going to interact and be romantic, and everything's going to be good. And fortunately, Vita and Jared are still on the date, and so everything's supposed to be fine. Also, Jared gets the mail, but it also looks like there's no mail, which was very confusing. No books came, but also there's no bills. What's going on? So these two talk and have a little bit of a romantic time. How was your day? How was work? What did you paint? Let's talk about our wedding and what are our goals and how we want it to look and what kind of cake we want and if we want it at church or not. Then we thank him for cleaning because he was helpful and he did the dishes this morning. See, callbacks. And then they just decide to be a little romantic and cute. And basically, they keep being cute. And the thing that I've realized is that during my Sims games, I normally have them flirt to then have woohoo after. But that's not the way the real world works. Sometimes you just want to be flirted with. So I decided, okay, you know what? We're actually going to have a cute family meal. And at this point, I'm just going to go cook spaghetti. And we get a notification from Vita that Jared's being inappropriate and that he has problems. But Jared still has a wish to go on a date with Vita. And Vita doesn't really have anything against him. So I'm like, okay, you know what? We can solve this. Just go to dinner together. Just go to the dinner together. Or be cute and romantic over dinner. But they don't go. They just stand there looking at each other. So I'm just like, okay, you're kissing each other, but you just said he has problems, so go to the restaurant. Just go to the restaurant, and it'll be fine. And they're going over. Jared just sprints past Vita, who's just walking slowly. And he waits there, and he sees Claire Ursine and his daughter, Brooke. And he tries to pick up Brooke, but says, you are not close enough with this family to do so. So, Vita kind of goes there, and she enters. And then Jared, he goes there and enters, but it looks like on a separate action. And it's it said, Jared, eat outside, while Vita said, eat inside. So it's what's going on? And Jared comes out, and Vita's not out. So it's okay, you know what? Actually, let's take this opportunity, since you're not technically on the date anymore, to talk to your ex-girlfriend. We also realize Agnes is eating her spaghetti all by herself, so we command Connor to come over here and talk to her. Because apparently family dinner is always a fun thing in The Sims 3, and it's not going to work unless you're extremely focused on it. So Agnes is presumably inside the restaurant eating, but you'll see when she comes out, she actually didn't have an increase to her hunger bar. She's still absolutely starving. But basically, Jared and Claire get talking, and they can't really do lots of interactions, but they are doing mostly positive ones, and their relationship is increasing. So it's going to go from red to up to acquaintance. And that's going to be quite good. And we actually learn, and then Vita comes out, and Vita is going to interact with Jared, but then she realized that she can pick up Brooke. Also, Dory Hart and Goodbye's Coffee had a child. That's cool. We named her Kara because we were on K And apparently it took me forever to be able to say this, but apparently Vita could just pick up the child. And I was like, what's your relationship with Claire? How are you able to do this? I just told her to, like, to interact with the baby and be cute. And we realized that Jared and Claire maybe broke up because Claire's a loner and Jared's a party animal, and that, like, those traits conflict each other, and they just, like, don't mesh well when those two things come in common. And so Jared just keeps talking to his ex-girlfriend in front of his fiance because he wants to be able to touch his child. He wants to touch his child. That sounds creepy. He wants to interact with his child. He wanted to toss her in the air that morning. And so, like, he has to keep doing it. At this point, Agnes is playing video games. She had already put away the spaghetti. And I was like, you know what? Vita's doing nothing. So Vita's going to come home and she's going to have some spaghetti since she is still hungry, even though she literally went to the restaurant. This doesn't make sense. So Vita goes home. She's going to eat some spaghetti. Connor's doing something. Apparently Claire and Jared have similar zodiac signs that are compatible. That's great. But we just kind of keep doing the same interactions over and over again to try to build up our relationship with her. And then it says the baby is coming. There's a little stork. The baby is coming. But look, Vita ate. She had food. So that's good. So Connor started playing video games with his wife Agnes. And the video games just kept playing. That audio just kept going because of course it did. And so basically, I decided to have Agnes take Vita to the hospital because I figured, like, that'd be the best thing. You know, she also relates to childbirth, and then Connor starts working on his book. So Jared, I'm like, okay, well, it's not time to go to the hospital yet. So, you know, we're just gonna, like, keep talking to our ex-girlfriend, and then when the need comes, we'll go in. And then here, apparently I forgot to talk about this, Vita got the wish to see Jared's ghost. She wanted to go on a date with him, but she also wanted to see Jared's ghost. I decided to promise to see Jared's ghost wish since I thought that was, like, a little more dramatic. So at this point, you know, I realized Jared's can do all the socialization he can do with Claire. So he's going to go to the hospital and support his fiance because, like, it's probably just not sending him because I'm playing him. So, like, we'll just tell him to go to the hospital. So there's his little blue truck, his baby blue truck, and we have him wait outside the hospital. And, like, there's no interaction to go in. There's nothing. He just kind of stands there. I take a screenshot because I'm like, oh no, this doesn't seem great that Vita's in the hospital by herself because I know that normally the father gets summoned to the hospital. And if Jared didn't get summoned to the hospital, what does this mean? So we're just playing around with screenshot angles because clearly that's the most important thing. I decided for that to be the background of the thumbnail because I already made it because I planned for the editing to work. And so we decided, you know what, Jared, go home. Take care of your niece and take care of her needs because we do communal parenting here. It takes a village to raise a child, and then you can take care of her and then, like, maybe get a drink. He looked like he was gonna pass out, so I was like, no drink, just go to bed. You know, Connor's gonna keep working on his book and help out with that, and basically nothing happens until the baby is born. So we're just chilling, we're just hanging out. We go back to the hospital to see what's going on since the girls are in there pushing out a whole nother living sin that's totally not laborious or difficult to do at all. And I was like, can we get a good thumbnail just the hospital? But no, because everyone's related to it. And it says, congrats on a new baby boy. We managed the best of it, but he's ecstatic, he's excitable and athletic. So I was like, okay, we're on the letter L now. And so I looked up powerful baby L boy names because I'm so good at Google. And I saw Leon. So I was like, okay, we're going to name this child Leon because it means a lion. And of course, we get the pop-up and it says, rename the child of Vita Alto and Nick Alto. I'm just like, what did you just say to me? And we check the tree. It's Nick's child. It is Nick's child. Leon is Nick's baby. Vita was pregnant with Nick the entire time. So while she was dating Jared, she woohooed with Nick. So they go home. Agnes just goes to bed because Connor, he went to bed. And Vita, she puts the baby, and they're in the wrong rooms because their baby's supposed to be close to them. And it very much upset me, the baby order, but also we decided we couldn't deal with that. So Vita comes stomping over to their little bedroom. And she decides to go ahead and argue with him and yell at him. And she's in the bedroom. She's like, why was your spoon not in my bowl? And she gets mad at him and frustrated. He's just like, man, I'm just trying to sleep. and he yells at her like, what do you mean my spoon was not in your bowl? What? And he realizes Nick flirting with Vita wasn't just a little thing. It meant he thought that you were an item. And so we go through and we check and see that actually Nick isn't even registered as a romantic interest anymore for Vita. How does this work? So I just kind of go into shock. So yeah, I have a plan, but we're gonna keep it secret. So give us baby names. I hope you enjoyed this kind of voiceover thing, because this was not what I was planning. And I hope you have a lovely day. Like, subscribe, comment is all helpful. Just watching does so much, so thank you.